This is the Midland Home Service. We present the Song Carriers. Traditional songs and those who sing them. Introducing the series, Ewan MacColl compares our own traditions with others of the world's peoples.
Her dem nedir balam? Hey gülistan etti gün, Özmürül helvet kılıp balam yüz lütfi ihsan etti gün. Ehdi dünya mürüvvet dünümü viran etti gün. Hani ey zalim bizimle lehti peyman etti gün. Aman 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 ayda zaman ayda. Canım aman aman ayda.
That extraordinary way of singing is certainly not characteristic of these islands. It is, in fact, a style common to the people of Azborgistan and Persia, and is thought to have originated at the time when Persia dominated the civilized world. The singer is an Azerbaijan bard and part-time shepherd, who uses his voice with a passionate, open, straightforward nasal quality, which is extremely dramatic, and, once you have learned to accept the hard, angular style, profoundly moving. Now, you may not like this way of singing, but there is no denying that the singer possesses enormous ability and has complete command over his vocal apparatus. The same kind of ability is shown in this impassioned canto hondo, the deep song of southern Spain. Here is the same emphatic delivery, the same passionate, open nasal quality that we noted in the Azerbaijan singer. Here, too, is the same hard, clearly defined vocal line, and above all, the same superb mastery of man's primary instrument, the voice. Another example from Syria, an area which in the course of history has known invading armies of Hittites, Egyptians, Babylonians, Persians, Romans, Arabs, and Turks. The following singer has a style compounded of almost as many influences. Here are grace notes and trills from Old Egypt, bleats of wonderful delicacy, typical of Old Armenia in particular and Asia Minor in general, yodeling trills of Persian tradition, and on the very first note, a swell in and out which is part of Muslim muezzin incantation. This element of expertise, this high level of performance, is characteristic of folk singing in areas where folk music is still an integral and important part of everyday life. That it once played an important part in the community life of these islands is obvious. It is equally obvious that it no longer does so. The traditional patterns of our oral culture were shattered by the Industrial Revolution. Long-established modes of expression were disrupted, and the mass circulation newspaper, films, radio, and television have disrupted them even further. Little more than 15 years ago, one might, with some justification, have subscribed to the commonly held point of view that folk music, in Britain anyway, had ceased to have any future, and that its decease was not only imminent, but long overdue. Today, the picture is a totally different one. The entire English-speaking world is experiencing a folk music revival in which hundreds of thousands of people are involved, a revival so far-reaching in its influence that it now begins to occupy increasingly the attention of those who own and run the mass entertainment industry.
I swear, knees up, coming up and knees up, I'll give you a ring for your finger, my dear. Bold a day, so make me your partner and give me a share in church today at Strawberry Fair. Now rifle, rifle, top to riddle, lido, rifle, rifle. Strawberries, shan't be round tomorrow. The donkeys pitched all the strawberries.
Is it animal, mineral, or vegetable? There are those who consider it to be folk music. It certainly began life as a folk song. Both the words and the tune were conceived in the folk idiom, and it has been sung by generations of folk singers. And yet, there are many people who would deny that it is still a folk song when performed in that particular manner. What then has happened to it? Its utterance has been translated, its idiom changed to that of pop music. It is as if we were to take over a pop song and recast it in a classical mold, and then have it performed by a string orchestra whose natural métier was, say, the Beethoven quartets. Do you think it would still be pop music? Conversely, if we took over one of those same quartets and performed it on 3 electric guitars and bongo drums, would it still be Beethoven? It would not. The imposition of styles and idioms foreign to a particular form results in that form being transformed. It becomes something different, not necessarily something worse or better, just different. And yet, many of the young singers of the folk revival have based their singing style on what is called the pop sound. They would probably argue, yes, but if only we had traditional singers as expert as those of Azerbaijan, or Spain, or Syria. Well, it's true that most of our traditional singers are old and well past their prime. It's also true that our traditional singing style is somewhat run down. How could it be otherwise? The dislocation of our traditional way of life by the Industrial Revolution didn't merely result in fewer people singing fewer of the old songs. It also reduced the community status of those singers who did survive the changes in society, and ultimately, it resulted in a decay of style. Nevertheless, the few traditional singers who are still with us can, between them, furnish us with a fairly complete model of English, Irish, or Scots traditional singing style. They are certainly much closer to the 3 singers we have just heard than are the most gifted pop group. Let's make a few comparisons. Here is our Spanish singer again. Listen to what happens if an Irish tinker singer is joined to her. Both of these singers produce their voices in the same way. Both are concerned with highlighting the melodic line, and both use the same open, emphatic style of delivery. Let's listen again to the Syrian singer with his elaborately decorated melody, followed by a singer from Donegal, Paddy Tunney.
With my dog and gone through the blooming heather to seek for pastime, I took my way, where I espied a lovely fair one. Her charms invited me a while to stay.
Tunney, of course, is not exactly typical, not even for Ireland, where the traditional style is rather better preserved than it is in England or lowland Scotland. Our spectrum is a narrow one. At one end of it we have singers, a few only, who have preserved some small part of all those elements which combine to form traditional singing style. A hard, often edgy tone with little or no vibrato, ideal for delineating melodic line, improvisational skills for creating various types of decorations and various ways of coming off a note, the ability to preserve tunes which use uncommon and often highly complicated melodic patterns, and the ability to carry rhythms and pulses more involved than those used in either pop or formal music. Elsewhere in the spectrum, we have singers who have lost the ability to decorate, to improvise, while still others find it impossible to work within complicated metrical forms and tend to reduce everything to the simple 2/4, 4/4, 3/4, and 6/8 rhythms. There are some who have even ceased to maintain the traditional vocal tone. Here is a recording of a gypsy singer from Canterbury, from whose singing traditional stylistic elements have entirely disappeared.
Cambridge, I was where I bred and born. In Cambridge, I was dwelling, till I fell in love with that fair maid, whose name was Barbary Ellen.
The hard, clean tone of tradition has been replaced by the sobbing style, characteristic of crooning and a favorite with pub tenors. As a result, the melodic line of this ballad is obscured, the tension reduced, and the sense of impending tragedy gives way to a mushy sentimentality. For contrast, listen to Mrs. Cecilia Costello of Birmingham singing the ballad of the Cruel Mother.
There was a lady that lived in York, all alone and alone, yo. She proved a child be her own father's clerk, down by a greenwood side, yo. As she was working down a father's lawn, all alone and alone, yo, she thought 3 times that her back would be broke, down by a greenwood side, yo. As she was working down her father's lawn, all alone and alone, yo. She says, Honourable Mary, pity me, down by a greenwood side, yo. Oh, she was working down her father's lawn, all alone and alone, yo. There are 3 fine sons they were born, down by a greenwood sighed you. She pulled out her long penknife, all alone and alone, you, and there she took with their 3 lives down by a greenwood side, you.
Perhaps the best living representative of English traditional singing style is Harry Cox of Catfield, Norfolk. Cox, who retired some years ago after a lifetime of farm labouring, has carried in his head more than 200 songs, an important part of the musical heritage of the English people. His memory is prodigious, his metrical sense highly developed, his feeling for pitch still extremely accurate. He uses very little decoration, but that little is used with considerable skill. His dramatic sense is sharp and mature, and is always contained within the structure of the song he is singing. Listen to the way he sings this beautiful version of the barley straw.
So it's up a jolly old farm that lived in the West Country. He had the finest daughter that ever my eye did see. 'Tis our favourite young squire was living here close by, and he vowed it wouldn't be easy until he had to try. So he dressed himself as a tinker and travelled on his way, until he came to the farmer's house was standing here close by. Oh, have you got any kittles and a pots or pans to mend? Or have you got any lodgings by being a single man? Oh, no, replied this pretty fair maid, not thinking any harm. Oh, you can stay with us all night if you sleep in our old barn. So after tea was over, she went to make his bed, the tinker following after, which stole her maidenhead. The tinker, being nimble, jumped up and barred the door, and she slept all night in the tinker's arms amongst the barley straw. Now since you slept with me all night, don't think of me none the worse. He put his hand in his pocket and pulled out a heavy purse. As £50 I will give you to pay the nurse's fee, and if ever I come this way again, fair maid, I'll marry thee. So now you cannot marry me, pray tell to me your name, likewise your occupation, and where and whence you came. He whispered softly in her ear, oh, call me Davy Shore, and if ever I come this way again, remember the barley straw. Now 6 months being over and 9 months being come, this pretty little fair maid was the mother of a son. The old man cried, oh daughter dear, who has done you this harm? I am afraid it was the old tinker that slept in our old barn.
Most folk song collectors working in the field today, I mean in Great Britain and Ireland, would, I think, agree that the main carriers of our traditional song are to be found among the travelling people, the much-despised gypsies, didikai and tinkers. Not only have they preserved numerous songs which might otherwise have been lost to us forever, but they have also produced some of our most stylish singers. Bell Stewart of New Alyth in Perthshire, a member of the numerous Stewart clan of travellers, has a huge repertoire of traditional songs and ballads. Here she is singing the Overgate with her 2 daughters, Sheila and Cathy.
Oh,
as I get up the overgate, I met a bonny wee lass. She winked to me with a tail of her ears as I was walking past. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. Now I asked her if she'd take a glass, as I am mourfie after a mochty tay, the market away some swine. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. I took her to a sitting room a wee bit down the barn. It's true what Robbie Barn said, a man was made to marn. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. For oh, hot pies and porter, she ate them big galore. She ate and drank as much as serve an elephant for a year. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. Now then we both get up the stair to hear contented sleep, when a naffin knock come to the door at the breaking of the light. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. It was a big fat bobby, he got me by the top of the hair, and he gave me the whirly jig right down to the foot of the stair. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. Now I get up the stair again, I sicken out of my clothes. You'll better get to tea, this young man, it'll give ye 60 days. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. But I says I've lost my waistcoat, my watch chain and my purse. Says she, I've lost my maiden heed, and that's a damn sight worse. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. Now there is a maid upon her farm, she is a dainty dame. She milks the kye at early morning, dinner time it's cream. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. There is a cattleman on the farm, will Garthel is his name, and he'll tackle a pint you'll give him, but he will pay for nane. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. There is a man upon the farm, he has a wooden leg, and he dots a boot for barn to buy her a sucking milky egg. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children. Now I'll go back to after machty, contented I will be, with a breaking o' the £5 note with a lassie in Dundee. Way my children now, lil for laddie, children.
A fine, cheerful lilt to that song, and they keep it moving forward beautifully. It's interesting to note that they do not find it necessary to push the tempo, as do so many revival singers, particularly those who sing in groups. There is an instinctive understanding here that a song should be allowed to breathe. Paddy Tunney, a fragment of whose singing you heard a moment ago, has the same marvellous feeling for tempo. Here he is singing an Irish exile song, The Green Fields of Canada. This highly dramatic piece is in the form of a lament. Tunney's approach to it is revealing. He uses an almost laconic style of utterance, quite unlike his usual lyrical approach. Even his voice is pitched down, and the decorations, which are, so to speak, his personal trademark, are used very sparingly. Surprisingly, and contrary to the usual lamentation style, he takes the song at a rather brisk tempo. Now, most exile songs place the singer on a foreign shore, and we are asked to picture him sitting down and gazing sorrowfully across a wide expanse of sea. The mood is usually one of stillness. In The Green Fields of Canada, the singer is about to leave Ireland, and Tunney's toned-down, rather brisk singing creates for us the picture of a man walking towards the quayside where the ship waits, which will carry him away from his native land. He walks quickly, not daring to turn round for fear his heart should break.
Farewell to the groves of Shillelagh and Shamrock, farewell to the girls of old Ireland all round. May their hearts be as merry as ever I would wish them, when far away on the ocean I'm bound. My mother is old and my father quite feeble. To leave their own country, it grieves their hearts sore. Oh, the tears down their cheeks in great drops they are rolling, to think they must die upon a foreign shore. But what matter to me where my bones may be buried, if in peace and contentment I can spend my life? Oh, the green fields of Canada, the daily are blooming, and I'll find an end to my misery and strife. Then it's pack up your sisters, consider no longer. $10 a week isn't very bad pay, with no taxes or tithes to devour up your wages when you're on the green fields of America. The sheep run unsheared and the land's gone to rushes. The handyman's gone and the winders of creels. Away across the ocean go journeymen tailors and fiddlers that flaked out the old mountain reels. But I mind the time when our Ireland was flourishing, when lots of our tradesmen did work for good pay. But since our manufactories have crossed the Atlantic, sure now we must follow to America. And it's now to conclude and to finish my duty. If ever friendless Irishman chances my way with the best in the house, I will greet him and welcome at home on the green fields of America.
And to finish, here is Charlie Wills of Bridport, Dorset, who for me exemplifies the traditional singer, the man who looks upon singing as an act as natural and as necessary as breathing, and who will continue to sing until death steals away the last mouthful of breath.
I went up to London town upon a market day. The finest ram which I did see was ever fed be high to me. I diddle-um Derby, I diddle-um day, I diddle-um Derby upon a market day. The arms growed on his head, sir, they growed so high and tall. There was a magpie's nest in the top, sir, for I heard the young ones cry to me. I diddle-um Derby, I diddle-um day, I diddle-um Derby upon a market day. The old growed on his back, sir, he growed so thick and round. If you believe my story, sir, he covered 9 acres of ground. To me, I diddle-um Derby, I diddle-um day, I diddle-um Derby upon a market day. The butcher that killed the ram, sir, was up to his knees in blood. Those 25 butcher boys got washed out wine the flood. But it's I diddle-um Derby, I diddle-um day, I diddle-um Derby upon a market day. Took all the dogs in England to pull away his bones, and all the women in England to roll away his pendulums. To me, I diddle-um Derby, I diddle-um day, I diddle-um Derby upon a market day. The farmer that owned the ram, sir, he must have been very rich. And the fellow that sing the song, sir, is a lion son of a bitch. But it's I diddle-um Derby, I diddle-um day, I diddle-um Derby upon a market day.